The preacher's wife shut the church door in her face, not with a slam, but with the soft, final click of judgment. Sarah stood on the wooden steps, her daughter Emma pressed against her side, their single carpet bag between them like an anchor to nowhere. The November wind cut through her worn calico dress, and the sky pressed down gray and merciless. Snow was coming. She could smell it. "We don't harbor fallen women," the preacher's wife had said, eyes hard as river stones. "There are places for your kind, not here." Emma looked up, 7 years old and too wise. "Mama, where will we sleep?" Sarah had no answer. No name to give them beyond Sarah and the child. No husband. No family. No future visible past the frozen road leading into nothing. Townspeople watched from porches and windows, spectators to her exile, their silence louder than accusations. She'd walked 20 miles for this mercy, found none. A lone rider sat motionless outside the mercantile. Dark coat and darker hat. Weathered face unreadable. He'd been watching since they arrived. Now he dismounted with the careful economy of a man who measured every movement, led his horse across the street. The whispers started immediately. Jacob Crane, lost his wife, hasn't spoken 10 words in 3 years. He stopped 3 feet away, studied Sarah with eyes that had seen their own winters. "My ranch needs help," he said, voice rusty from disuse. "Can you cook?" Sarah's throat tightened. She knew what men's offers meant. "I can. Separate cabin, fair wages, no questions about where you've been. Why would you help me?" Something flickered across his face. Recognition. Maybe. Pain meeting pain. "Maybe I'm not helping you. Maybe you're helping me." Snow began falling. Soft and deliberate. Emma shivered. Sarah calculated survival against risk, found no better option in the gray distance. She nodded once. Crane lifted Emma onto his saddle without asking permission, gentle as handling glass. Sarah saw it then, not lust or pity in his eyes, loneliness, recognizing loneliness. They rode toward the mountains as the world turned white. The only sounds were hoofbeats and Emma's small questions, which Crane answered with more words than Sarah expected. "Do you have horses?" Emma asked. "6. One's a mare might suit you someday." "And cows?" "Cattle. About 200 head up in summer pasture." Sarah watched him from behind. This stranger carrying her daughter. He spoke to Emma like she mattered. No impatience. No dismissal. That meant something. Maybe everything. The ride stretched 10 miles through pine forest and creek crossings, elevation rising until the air turned thin and clean. The ranch appeared at dusk, sprawling but neglected. A main house too large for one man, barn door hanging crooked on leather hinges, fences waiting for spring. A man living small in a big inheritance. "The cabin's yours," Crane said, nodding toward a smaller structure 50 yards from the main house. He helped Emma down, then Sarah. Never touching more than necessary. Inside, one room held a wood stove, simple bed, table, 2 chairs, cold but clean. Sarah noticed details, faded paint on one wall, small handprints at child height. This had been a nursery once. "I'll bring firewood," Crane said. "Supper in an hour." He did both without ceremony, starting the fire himself, bringing stew and bread still warm, then left them alone as darkness settled. Through the frosted window, Sarah watched him cross to the barn. He stood there long minutes before a peg on the wall, staring at something she couldn't see. A woman's shawl. Perhaps. A ghost he couldn't bury. Emma curled against her. "Is Mr. Crane sad?" "I think so." Baby. I think he's been sad a long time. Sarah tucked her daughter in, whispered prayers of gratitude for shelter, but lay awake, staring at the door, wondering what bargain she'd made with this broken man in the main house. Crane sat alone in darkness, looking at 2 empty chairs at his table, remembering voices that would never fill them again. The snow fell heavier, sealing them all in white silence. 3 weeks passed like cautious steps across thin ice, fragile routine, unspoken boundaries, careful distance, until Emma ran toward the creek. Sarah had settled into the work, cooking, mending, tending the chickens that scratched near the barn. Crane did the heavy labor, spoke little, but left small kindnesses she couldn't ignore: fresh milk for Emma each morning, the cabin's rocking chair repaired without mention, extra firewood stacked before she needed it. Walls stood between them, but walls with cracks letting light through. Mid-December arrived with crystalline cold, the kind that made breath visible and turned the world sharp-edged. Emma, playing near the barn, chased an escaped hen toward the creek. The ice looked solid, thick and white and safe. It wasn't. She broke through with a scream that split the frozen air. Sarah ran from the cabin, too far away, her own scream locked in her throat. Crane was closer, in the barn saddling a horse. He didn't hesitate, didn't stop to assess or calculate, just ran and plunged through the ice after her, the cold hitting him like a fist. He found Emma in the black water, grabbed her, lifted her above the surface as the current pulled at them both. He broke through the ice edge with his elbow, hauled them both out through sheer desperate strength, and ran, not toward the cabin, but the main house, closer, warmer, survivable. Sarah burst through his door moments later, wild-eyed and terrified. Together, they stripped Emma's frozen clothes, wrapped her in blankets before the roaring fire Crane built with shaking hands. They rubbed warmth back into her small hands and feet, whispered urgent encouragements, held her between them until color returned to her lips. Emma's eyes fluttered open. "Cold," she whispered. "I know. Sweetheart, I know." Sarah's voice broke. Emma fell asleep there on the hearth between them, breathing steady and safe. Crane and Sarah remained kneeling, not speaking, the crisis aftermath settling into their bones. His hands trembled, delayed fear, shock, the weight of almost. Sarah saw him looking at Emma with desperate tenderness, cradling her like something infinitely precious, like he was holding a ghost made flesh. "Thank you," Sarah whispered. "You saved her." Crane's voice came out broken. "I couldn't. Not again." Their eyes met across Emma's sleeping form, raw, unguarded, all pretense stripped by terror and relief. Sarah saw his wound laid bare, a child lost before, unable to save them. And he saw hers reflected, a woman who'd lost everything trying to protect what remained. They couldn't be strangers anymore. That distance was gone, drowned in creek water and resurrection. That night, lying in her cabin bed, Sarah knew the truth. We're bound now, for better or worse. Spring came slowly to the high country, but it came, and with it, something neither dared name. Late February brought the first thaw. By March, the snow retreated to shadowed places, revealing brown grass waiting for green. The ranch woke to lambing season and fence mending, the work of renewal. Sarah and Crane worked side by side more now. He taught Emma to ride the gentle mare, patient as sunset, while Sarah watched from the corral fence. She mended his late wife's quilt, the one he'd kept torn and folded in a trunk for 3 years, and returned it without comment. He spread it on his bed that night. Their hands brushed passing tools. Conversations lengthened. Emma laughed freely now, and sometimes, increasingly, Crane smiled. The first trip to town for supplies shattered the fragile peace. Whispers followed them down the main street like dogs. The store clerk served Crane, but looked through Sarah as if she were glass. When she reached for flour, a woman pulled her daughter away. Skirts swishing disapproval. Horace Garrett, the banker, stepped into their path outside the mercantile. 50-odd years of self-righteousness in a tailored suit. Crane, folks are concerned about the situation at your ranch. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Bad example for a Christian community. Young children seeing, well, my ranch, my business. Crane's voice stayed level, but his hand moved to Sarah's back, visible, deliberate. Of course, just friendly concern. Wouldn't want people getting the wrong idea about your charity. On the ride home, Sarah's hands twisted in her lap. You'll lose their respect. Had their respect, didn't keep me warm at night. That evening, Crane asked them to eat in the main house instead of the cabin. Family eats together, he said simply. The word hung between them. Family. Too large and too perfect to touch. Over dinner, Emma announced, Jacob smiled today, twice. They all laughed. The sound strange and good. After Emma slept, Sarah and Crane sat by the fire. He asked about Emma's father, carefully, giving her space to refuse. She stiffened, then surrendered. He was married. I didn't know until after. The shame in her voice could have filled a river. Crane nodded slowly. No judgment in his face. Some men don't deserve what they're given. Outside, spring rain began, washing winter away, making room for what came next. She told him everything that night, the whole truth she'd carried like stones in her pockets. His name was Thomas. He'd courted her properly in the town where she grew up, brought her flowers, spoke of marriage and a home with a garden. She was 19 and believed in promises. I gave myself to him, Sarah said, staring at the fire. Thought we'd marry come fall. When she told him about the baby, he'd laughed, actually laughed, then explained about his wife and 3 children in the next county. Called Sarah his mistake. Disappeared before dawn. Her family disowned her. The church shunned her. She'd wandered from town to town for 7 years, Emma growing up on roads and borrowed rooms, both of them nameless. Sarah is all we are, she finished. Can't even give my daughter a surname. Crane listened without interrupting, then shared his own wound. Margaret, his wife, had gone into labor early while he was away, buying cattle in Miles City. Came home 3 days later to 2 fresh graves on the hill. His son had lived 20 minutes. Margaret, an hour. I chose cattle over being there, Crane said, voice rough as sandpaper. For 3 years, I've been punishing myself. Couldn't bear to love anything again. Too much risk. Silence stretched between them, full of shared pain. Then Crane spoke carefully. You could take my name, you and Emma. I'd tell folks we married quiet-like. Legal wedding later if you want. But the protection's real. Sarah Crane. Emma Crane. Sarah's breath caught. I can't. Why not? Because I won't take what isn't truly given. She met his eyes. If I'm Sarah Crane, I want it real. Crane stood, paced to the window, stared at the dark mountains. Turned back. Then marry me. For real. Jacob, not out of pity, I'm asking because I wake up thinking about you, because Emma fills the hole my son left, because this ranch became a home again when you walked into it." His voice dropped. "I'm asking because I love you." Sarah couldn't breathe. "You don't know what you're asking. The town will crucify you. Let them try." He crossed to her, knelt. "I've been dead 3 years. You made me alive. That's worth anything." She kissed him then, desperate, hopeful, terrified. First kiss, like drowning and surfacing at once. From the loft, Emma watched and smiled. Morning brought Horace Garrett and the marshal to their door. Someone had accused Sarah of theft. Garrett wore righteousness like a badge, and behind him the law stood uncertain. "Sarah's been accused of stealing fabric from the mercantile," Marshal Tom Briggs said, hat in hands, apologetic but firm. "Clerk says she saw her hide it under her cloak." Sarah went pale. "I never—" "Course you didn't." Crane stepped between them and the door. "This is Garrett's doing. Now, Crane, that's defamatory. It's true. What do you want, Horace?" Garrett's smile turned cold. "Just justice. Unless, of course, you'd like to reconsider your living arrangements. Send the woman on her way. This all disappears. She's not going anywhere. Then we'll need her to come to town, answer questions." The interrogation happened in the marshal's office. Small room, hard chairs, Garrett producing his coached witness. The store clerk, a nervous young woman named Pearl, testified that she'd seen Sarah concealing fabric. "You certain?" Marshal Briggs asked. "Yes, sir." Clear as day. Sarah's denials meant nothing against Pade's certainty. Garrett leaned back, satisfaction in every line. "Crane, you're a respected man. Your father built this county. Don't throw that away on a woman of questionable character. Send her off. Charges disappear. Everyone moves on." "And if I don't?" "Your ranch hands won't work for a man who harbors a whore. Your suppliers will close their doors. You'll lose everything." Crane's jaw set. "Then I lose everything." Back at the ranch, the betrayal arrived in the form of Bill, Crane's foreman, 50 years old, worked for Crane's father before him. "Boss, I got a family. Garrett's stirring the town up real good. They're saying anyone works for you is complicit. My wife's getting shunned at church. The kids, too." Bill couldn't meet Crane's eyes. "I can't afford it. I'm sorry." He quit, took 2 other hands with him. Crane stood in the barn. Suddenly alone with a ranch too big for one man, calving season approaching, the town's noose tightening. That night, he found Sarah packing in the dark. "What are you doing?" "Leaving." At dawn. Her voice was iron over breaking. "I won't watch you lose everything for me. Sarah, I'm poison to everything good. You'll lose the ranch. Your name, your life. For what? A woman with no past and no future?" She wouldn't look at him. Hands shaking as she folded Emma's few dresses. Crane's heart stopped. She meant it. She'd disappear before dawn. Take his heart with her. Call it mercy. Not this time. Not again. He caught her at the gate. Dawn not yet breaking. Emma asleep in the saddle. "Where are you going?" His voice came out harsh with fear. "Away. Somewhere you're not ruined by knowing me. You think you're saving me?" Crane grabbed the horse's bridle, stopped them. "You'll kill what you brought back to life. Better that than watching you lose everything." "I lost everything already." The words tore out of him. "My wife, my son, my will to live. Then you showed up with nothing and gave me everything back." "You think I care about Garrett? About property?" About what small-minded fools think? Sarah's composure cracked. They'll destroy you. I was already destroyed. He moved closer, voice dropping. You're the only thing that made me remember how to breathe. Emma's my daughter in my heart. You're my family, the only one that matters. Jacob, I love you. Say it plain, I love you. And I'm not letting you leave to save me from a life I want. Sarah broke then, sobs tearing through her chest. I love you too. God help me. I love you, but I'm terrified. Then be terrified with me. He pulled her off the horse, held her. We'll stand together. I'll marry you in front of the whole damn town. Put my name on you and Emma legal. Dare them to say a word. What if they win? Then we lose together. But we'll have had something real. That's more than most people get in a lifetime. Emma woke, looked down at them. Are we staying? Crane looked up at her. We're staying, and we're becoming a family. Official. Like really married? Really married. He lifted her down, held them both. We've been a family. Now we're making it so nobody can take it away. Dawn broke over the mountains. New day. Gold and pink across snow peaks. Sarah wiped her face, nodded. Sunday, Crane said. We're going to church. Sarah understood. The church, the town's heart, the place that rejected her, where judgment was delivered and mercy withheld. We'll ask them to publish the bans, Crane continued. Marry us properly, and if they refuse, we'll marry anyway and dare them to say it doesn't count. It was war declaration and love letter at once. Emma threw her arms around them both. We're a family now? We've been a family, sweetheart. Now everyone else will know it. They walked back to the ranch together, sunrise lighting their path. They rode to church like soldiers to battle, dressed in their best, carrying nothing but courage. Sunday morning. May, Redemption Creek's white church stood against blue sky. Steeple pointing toward mercy it didn't always grant. Townspeople gathered on the steps, going silent as Crane rode up with Sarah beside him and Emma between them. Crane dismounted, helped them both down, walked them through the parting crowd without hesitation, took them to the front pew reserved for founding families, his family's place for 3 generations. People shifted away like water from oil. Preacher Davies watched from the pulpit, 60 years old and visibly conflicted. After the service, Crane stood. Preacher, I'm asking you to publish marriage bans for Sarah and myself. 3 weeks from today. The congregation erupted. Horace Garrett surged to his feet, face purple. This is outrageous. Crane waited for silence, then spoke, voice quiet but unmovable. I was broken when she arrived, lost my wife, my son, my faith. This woman, who you judge so easily, showed me kindness when I'd forgotten what it was. Her daughter brought laughter back to my home. He paused. If she's a sinner, so am I. If you judge her, you judge me. We're asking this church to witness our marriage, asking this community to choose mercy over pride. You're a fool, Garrett started. Maybe, but I'm a fool who can sleep at night. Crane looked around the room. I'm not asking for approval. I'm telling you who I'm marrying. You can accept it or not, but if you can't, then you lose me. Anyone who thinks reputation matters more than love. I pity you. Silence fell like a stone in deep water. Then families started leaving. Garrett stalked out, 3 others with him. Crane's heart sank. He'd gambled everything and lost. But then, Miss Alice, the schoolteacher, stood. I'll witness the wedding, Mrs. Henderson, the widow, followed. So will I, Tom Walsh, the Valley rancher. And I, not everyone, not even half, but enough, cracks in the wall, Preacher Davies nodded slowly, tears in his old eyes. "I'll perform the ceremony. Saturday next." Walking out, Sarah whispered, "You did that for us." "I did it for me. I'm tired of fear winning," Emma asked. "When you marry Mama, can I be Flower Girl?" Crane laughed, full and real. "Wouldn't have it any other way, sweetheart." The wedding was small, the vows simple, and the love that bound them was the kind that rebuilt broken things. Saturday afternoon, late May, the ranch in full bloom, wildflowers carpeting the meadow, mountains majestic against endless blue. They married under the cottonwood trees near the creek where Emma had fallen through ice, where everything had changed. Preacher Davies officiated, Miss Alice, Mrs. Henderson, Tom Walsh and his family stood witness. A few loyal ranch hands, freshly hired, watched from respectful distance. Emma wore a new dress Miss Alice had sewn, stood beside her mother with wildflowers in her hair. Crane wore his father's suit, cleaned and mended. Sarah wore a simple blue dress, but she glowed. The vows were traditional until Crane said, "Sarah Crane," and she broke, tears streaming down her face because she had a name now, a real name, and it meant belonging. He placed his mother's silver ring on her finger. Sarah's vow included Emma. "I promise to be your wife and to honor the family we're building." Then Crane turned to Emma, knelt. "Emma Crane, I claim you as my daughter. Before these witnesses, I adopt you as my own. You're mine now, if you'll have me." Emma threw her arms around his neck. "Papa," his voice came out thick. "I heard. Little one." Best thing I ever heard. The reception was simple: food, laughter, Tom Walsh's fiddle playing while Emma danced on Crane's boots, giggling. New ranch hands had arrived throughout the week. Word had spread of Crane's stand, and decent men sought decent work. The ranch would survive, thrive, maybe. As sunset painted the mountains gold, Sarah and Crane stood on the porch, Emma chasing fireflies through the grass. "I have a name now," Sarah whispered. "A real name." "You gave me back mine," Crane said, holding her. "I was Jacob Crane, the dead man. Now I'm Jacob Crane, the man who loves you." Emma ran back, breathless and laughing, hung something by the door, a wooden sign she'd carved with Tom Walsh's help. "The Crane family," it read. 3 names where once was one. Inside, lamplight glowed warm. The table was set for 3. The house was full again. Sarah looked at the mountains, the land, the home they'd built from broken pieces. She'd come with nothing, no name, no future, no hope. He'd given her his name and his home. But what she'd given him was greater, a reason to believe broken things could be whole again. Spring night settled soft over the ranch, over the family sleeping under one roof, the daughter who had a father, the man who remembered how to love, the woman who'd found her name. The land stretched peaceful under stars. Home, family, redemption, peace. The end.